United States have done a substantial amount of damage to Iran's capabilities here. How much damage? How long have we set them back? I think we don't know exactly yet. This very early in all this. But if I were the president,
keeps saying completely obliterated.
If I were the president and my government was leaking top secret military information after what our military did, which was execute a precision military strike, I'd be pissed.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Second Take News channel, where we keep an eye on CNN so you don't have to. In a recent episode of The Arena with Casey Hunt, Scott Jennings showcased his expertise by managing the situation with finesse. Unlike Newsnight, where discussions can get heated, Scott managed to keep the debate civil with his rivals. But don't let the friendly exchange put you to sleep. Focus on what Scott is saying. The truth is in his words. Meanwhile, the rest of the panel shapes their arguments to align with the liberal mainstream media narrative concerning Iran, Israel, Trump's approach, and the successful U.S. strike. Actually, I mentioned paying attention, but that's not entirely necessary. You can be partially tuned in while doing other tasks around the house, and you'll easily catch on to their agenda. They aren't exactly subtle about it anymore, are they? Oops. It seems I've digressed once again, and I apologize. So, to sum it up quickly, Scott reveals the truth while the rest of the panel twists and misrepresents facts to support their fabricated tales. Anyway, let's watch Scott dominate them all. Ready? Let's go!
With their kids, the president clearly flashing some anger. Let's watch that moment just to remember what it was.
I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either, but I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
And if you've had a private conversation with the president and he's angry at you, I think you probably recognize the person that was right there. It doesn't come out in public all that often, but there it was. This assessment surely, and it's the public nature of it, surely can't be making Donald Trump less angry right now.
Yeah, I'd be angry if I were him. I mean, he's the president of the United States, and now he's got a part of the bureaucracy that's leaking top secret, sensitive military information. I mean, we're in the immediate aftermath of a military exercise. This document was not produced for public consumption. It was produced for top secret internal government consumption, and now it's out in the public domain. So if I were him, I'd be mad about that, number one. Look, there's more info to come. There's 17 other intelligence agencies inside the government that have to produce some kind of information. The head of the IAEA says that substantial damage and substantial setbacks have occurred in the program, and it's no doubt that the combined efforts of both Israel and the United States have done a substantial amount of damage to Iran's capabilities here. How much damage? How long have we set them back? I think we don't know exactly yet. This very early in all this. But if I were the president,
keeps saying completely obliterated.
If I were the president and my government was leaking top secret military information after what our military did, which was execute a precision military strike, I'd be pissed.
Imagine being in Trump's position. You'd be furious, right? Trump orchestrates a truce between Israel and Iran, aiming for peace, and there's an agreement on the table. Things start calming down, and then, out of nowhere, Iran sends a rocket, maybe accidentally, that doesn't even hit its target, prompting Israel to retaliate immediately, shattering the fragile peace. If you're Trump, you're thinking, what's the point here? Within just 12 hours, instead of maintaining composure, they've reignited a potential disaster, risking more lives and destruction over a harmless missile. Trump's opinion that these two nations have been at loggerheads for ages seems pretty accurate, given that Iran's response wasn't calculated. It was driven by emotion, and that in itself is enough to make anyone rage. But it appears misfortunes come in waves for Trump. Right after that, or possibly even during the turmoil, classified military documents somehow emerge in public view immediately following the confrontation. Seriously? I can't get over how they're still pushing the narrative that the strike didn't achieve its goals. They're trying to downplay it, continually questioning, how long will this stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons? Those who pose such questions are not genuinely seeking an answer, so a general response to all of them is that it will deter Iran longer than if they had done nothing. So, yeah, if I were Trump, I'd be pretty angry too. He made a bold move that diminished Iran's standing without putting American soldiers in jeopardy, only to watch the political circus undo the message with pandemonium. It's embarrassing. This isn't conduct befitting of a serious nation, But sadly, our leadership mostly lacks gravity. So really, what can you expect? Let's keep going.
I mean, to that point, Scott Jennings, the American people, some of the new CNN polling shows that something like 60% of the public do not approve of, or, are not interested in us striking Iran, which, we found noteworthy because history has shown that striking and then getting out, historically, Americans have been mostly okay with that. But clearly, taking on board the lessons of the Iraq War has shifted something, right? Like the reluctance for foreign involvement is that much higher than it used to be.
Yeah, I think that's true. But at the same time, we went in and we went out. And look, you can't crowdsource national security. I mean, if you thought the people that were chaining death to America were on the doorstep of getting a nuclear weapon, I wouldn't stop and take a poll. I would go ahead and do what I could to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon.
Do you think President Trump doesn't care about said polling?
I think he certainly cares about public opinion, but at the same time, the President of the United States, most importantly, cares about national security. We had a window here where there was no danger, really, to our pilots. Iran didn't even know we were there and couldn't get a shot off, to do something which meant preserving the national security of the United States, keeping these death to America butchers from getting a nuclear weapon. So, look, the polling is the polling. But the decision-making was sound. He had good intelligence. We had a window of opportunity. He took the shot. The military executed.
The phrase that you use that I think is most important is if you can get in and you can get out. And, I know I've sat in these assessments. One of the questions is, then what? What's the second, third, and fourth order events that you can expect after this? And I'm not convinced. I haven't seen evidence that there was really deep discussion of those things. I think the president, but I accept your premise, but I do think that there is responsibility to think beyond that, because I think the American people will be fine if it was in and out and but if it becomes an ongoing saga because of the action he took.
I do think they had ongoing dialogue going on with Witkoff and other people in the region. I mean, it manifested itself in Iran, weekly shooting off a few missiles at our base that didn't land on anything. Obviously, we wanted in and out, and Iran wanted in and out.
Listen, there are all kinds of implications, and hopefully none of them will happen, that go to cyber, that go to cutting off the Strait of Hormuz, that go to danger to our troops in the area. None of it may happen. I hope to God none of it does. A purely symbolic act. It would not have any effect. It would be a time suck. It would be a drama, but we all know how the drama would end, and it would not.
They also don't control the chamber that they would need.
But if they did get control of it in the midterms coming up, I have no doubt Democrats will be right back at the impeachment table.
That is not true.
Exactly
Jeffries.
If there's a survey indicating that most Americans aren't keen on a strike, I haven't come across it, but I'll accept it as true. I get it, especially during an election period. We voted for America to be prioritized, to stay out of international affairs, to keep our funds within the nation, and to avoid losing our soldiers. I think it's great that conservatives highlighted that notion, and it appears to be gaining ground among the majority of Americans. We don't want to engage in foreign disputes. Hear me out though, and if you're a Democrat tuning in, this might seem baffling because it's somewhat alien, but true leadership is about taking action before a threat turns into a disaster. According to Donald Trump, Iran was getting dangerously close to acquiring a nuclear weapon, and he spotted a prime opportunity. No U.S. casualties, no lengthy involvement, no unending war. He took the shot. Whether you like it or not, it's done. Trump made the call, and that's what having strength and decisiveness really means. I still believe Donald Trump acts in what he sees as the country's best interests. I might be completely duped, he might end up being totally swayed by Israel, and I'd admit my mistake. But based on the actions and behavior that led me to want him as our president, I trust him. I believe Trump sent a clear message to a country that stepped out of line for quite some time, and if you know, you know. And it was effective. Iran hesitated. Had Biden made that decision, CNN would have celebrated him, but instead, they complained because Trump didn't hold a press conference to ask for permission first. Look, you don't have to favor Donald Trump or his choice to strike to recognize that it was a successful mission, but CNN can't resist. I can't believe they still have any credibility with Americans who pay any attention. They've spent, 9 years undermining him daily and then rushed to the airwaves to downplay a clear military success? At this point, any attempt to belittle Trump's actions only tells people everything they need to know. And they instinctively think, well, the reality must be the exact opposite of what CNN's saying now. The strike was successful, Iran was set back. Scott's right, dismissing this as just another misleading story from a political class that struggles to give Trump credit when due. Drop your thoughts for me, I'm curious. I've seen how divided people are about our lack of involvement in Iran, and I genuinely understand your perspective. Now that it's done, do you still hold anger towards Trump for his decision, or do you say, All right, that was a standalone strike. Trump believed it was the best move. I didn't like it, but it's over, and I still support Trump for other reasons. I want to hear as many viewpoints as possible to make sure I'm not overlooking something. Anyway, that's a wrap for this video, folks. Any support you can give the channel would be incredibly appreciated. We've been striving hard for substantial growth this month, and with your help, we could hit some impressive numbers showcasing how much your support is contributing to our growth. Otherwise, as always, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to watch my video. Your time is invaluable to me, and it truly means a lot. Never forget, Jesus loves you. See you!